perfect romantic scenario that you see in these movies, like, surprise, I'm sorry, it doesn't really work like that. Just say it. That's how you say it. You say, I'm on my period. I guess I didn't grow up with it, and then when I moved to America, and I was like, oh my god, like everyone around me are using tampons, like what do I do? Hey guys, it's your girl Hailey, and I filmed a girl talk related video a few weeks ago, and it got such good feedback because I didn't know how eager people were to talk about really personal like TMI topics, because a lot of the times, even like as I was growing up, it was hard for me to talk about these things with like my mom or like my friends, and I would like Google it, get like a half-ass answer. This is like gonna be a safe space. Nothing is off limits. I always say this. So when you are sending in these questions, don't be shy. I think so many like important topics or personal topics YouTubers kind of stray away from because either they get uncomfortable, and you know, I've gone through those things. So I'm here to give you guys my honest advice about things that you might be struggling with, whether it's like puberty or like boyfriends or sex, or I'm here with my advice, and honestly these are like really fun to film. Also, did you guys notice that I got some records up there? I don't know if you cared, but I'm trying to like make the background cute for these videos. Like I always say, follow me on Instagram because that is where I post on my story for you guys to send in these questions so that you can be aware when I do decide to upload. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Tips for your first time. I think the most important thing is for you to be comfortable in that moment. If the person that you're, you know, doing it with is someone that you know is not gonna judge you and everything is a judge-free zone, what's the worst that could happen? I think it's also a lot about communication. The perfect romantic scenario that you see in these movies, like, surprise, I'm sorry, it doesn't really work like that. So you can say things like, that doesn't feel good, stop, I don't like that. Communicate. It's a two-person thing. How do you tell a male teacher you're on your period when they decline your bathroom request? I was literally that bitch in school. Like, how dare you decline my bathroom request when you don't even know what I'm going through? And this has happened to me, I think like twice, where a teacher has been like, no, you can't go to the bathroom. You can go after. Like, I would be like, I'm bleeding. Do you want me to bleed through my pants? Just say it. That's how you say it. You say, I'm on my period when they decline your request. And most likely they're gonna be like, oh my god, okay, like go to the bathroom. But like, don't take advantage of the fact that you can just say that and get away with things. Is it common for a lot of girls that their vagina is really itchy sometimes? It's normal for that to happen like right after you shave. Obviously it goes away in like a day or two, just because like your skin gets sensitive. But if it's like constantly itchy, there's something called a yeast infection. Like, don't freak out if you get a yeast infection. It's easy to get rid of yeast infections. Like, just go to the doctor and they literally give you like one pill or something like that. There's like stuff you can take over the counter. Other than that, be on top of your hygiene game. Shower. Don't put soap down there. That's like not something that you should be doing. It's sensitive down there, but like use water. Those are some of my tips. But it is common. Like, sometimes like you'll just be in the middle of the street or like in class and you'll be like, oh! It's not just a guy thing. Like, it doesn't make you gross. When was your first gyno exam? Were you scared? How did it go? My first gyno exam, I think, was when I was like 17 or something. I was like, I want to get checked up. Like, I just want to make sure everything's okay. And I got a pap smear. It's like a stick with like a little brush at the end of it, and they like stick it up your JJ. They like do a test on it just to make sure everything's okay. They were like, oh, you have some weird cells. And I was like freaking out. I had to actually go back in and do like a biopsy. A biopsy is not the most fun thing that you will undergo, let me tell you. I faint, by the way, because I'm bad with blood. I'm just bad with anything that has to do with like health. Just brings down my blood pressure. And then they did it, and then they were like, oh, you're prone to cervical cancer, which is scary, but basically what I have to do is like go get checked up every 6 months. My case, I think, is very rare. This probably won't happen to you. Go to the gyno, especially if you're, you know, like getting active in that sense. It doesn't have to be a pap smear. Like, they don't have to stick something up your vajayjay. Like, it could just be like them looking at it and be like, oh, you look fine. I recommend you become friends with your gyno. Another thing I'll say is like the time that you spend in their little office is so fast. They know how uncomfortable it can be for people, and probably like with the doctor for 3 minutes. How to deal with pains on your period. Obviously, if you're on birth control, it helps with pains and cramps and regulates it and etc. But here are my tips and tricks. Obviously, ibuprofen. Ibuprofen actually helps with cramps and helps shorten your period time. Number 2, vitamin C. If I drink like a bottle of Tropicana during my period, it literally is guaranteed to shorten your period time 24 to 48 hours. Take baths, take showers, like warm ones, drink a lot of water, liquids. You know, you're on your period, you can use it as an excuse to just go crazy in the pantry. Also, another thing that, I don't know if this helps, it just makes me feel better. I like to wear like things that are tight around my stomach, like biker shorts or booty shorts. Things that just like keep everything in place. I think it just like helps me with pains. Just keeping it warm down there. Do you have tips to use tampons for the first time? I tried many times, but I can't do it. This was me, where I guess first hit puberty, like in Turkey, tampons aren't a thing. Like majority of the girls just use pads. I guess I didn't grow up with it, and then when I moved to America, and I was like, oh my God, like everyone around me are using tampons, like what do I do? I can confidently say that the first probably like 20 times wasn't it for me. Get a mirror, have a friend by you, like someone who does know how to do it, that they can be like, you have to do it like this. It's difficult. Literally, if it's like angled slightly different, you feel it, it's uncomfortable. Number 1 tip I would say is a lot of the times the reason that I felt uncomfortable with it is because I wouldn't put it in all the way. Make sure it goes in all the way. It should not hurt. Like if it hurts, you're probably doing something wrong. Also, I don't know if this even does anything, but Playtex Sport is the way to go. That's just what I'll say. Sponsor me. What should I do if I love a boy but have to forget him because he doesn't love me? If this boy that you love is like someone that you've had a crush on forever, but like you don't really talk, I think that's easier to get over just because it takes like a deeper connection on a deeper level for you to truly be in love with someone. If that person hasn't allowed you to do that with them, you're just kind of in love with the idea of them, or like how you've imagined them to be in your head. Once you realize that that necessarily doesn't always align with who they really are, I think it's easier to kind of untangle like the emotions that you have for that person. But if it is someone that you know, like a friend, and you know them and you love them like in a romantic way, but they have expressed that they don't, that's kind of like a turn off. Like if you don't like me back, it's like an incentive for you to not like them anymore. Just give it time. I think you should give it time. It'll be hard, but I think your feelings will fade. A boy hurt me really bad, but I still love him, and I think he does too. What should I do? The red flag in this sentence is the fact that you said, I think he does too. Like giving someone a second chance is different if you are confident that they can make up for it because they love you. Literally ask yourself, like, is this love, or the potential that I see in this worth the feelings that I went through that could potentially also happen again? Is it okay if I kind of like one of my friend's old crushes? She isn't sure if she's totally over him. Girl code, in my opinion, just like there's so many other guys in the world, you know? Like, why do you have to get messy with things? I personally wouldn't. I think I've done that once where my friend had expressed that she thought someone was cute, kind of liked somebody, and then I like kind of ignored that and like did my own thing with him. She was upset, and the feeling that you feel after honestly like makes you feel so gross about yourself. You don't even care about the boy. All you can think about is the fact that like you did a bad move on your end to your friend. Friendships are a lot harder to rebuild. How to hide a hickey: concealer, ice, turtlenecks, hoodies, hair down. You got it, girls and boys. Such a double standard that like guys like walk around with their hickeys and like girls like try to hide them. Like, fuck that. How to shave down there? Should I even shave there? In my last video, I said something about like there's hair in parts of your body that you can't see. You should shave down there. I got some comments, hey, you don't have to shave if you don't have to. Like, you don't have to do this for anybody. And I completely agree with that. I think what I was trying to say is like, if you're a girl that, you know, prefers being shaved, like, but you just don't know, I was trying to like be like, that's a thing too. And how to shave down there, I already answered that question in my last video. Why are people more okay with bi girls than bi boys? Gender roles, ladies and gentlemen. Gendered power dynamics. I literally wrote a fucking essay on this weekend. When you think about it, it's literally the same thing. It's just how we evaluate different genders, and it sucks. And I think the only way to break it is through resistance. There are so many studies that show that if you disrupt the power dynamic, how do you do that? You get mad. You voice your opinion, you speak up about it. Once you put a barrier in front of something that's so normalized and people have to like reevaluate their decisions, that's the only way that we're gonna achieve change. If any of you wanna like read my essay, I'd be more than happy to share it with you guys. What can I do when my mom is not a feminist? You're not a reflection of your parents. You can choose to be your own person, you know? Their ideas doesn't represent you. What you can do is obviously inform her, because people that are more glued to their conservative little ideas, it's literally because of a lack of education on the topic. So as a person who is a feminist, I'm guessing, you can inform them, you can explain to them, and if they are still so stubborn, there's nothing you can do. You tried. Don't talk about it with them. The only thing that's gonna like happen is more conflict and more tension. Just know that you're gonna move out one day and it's really not gonna matter. How to reject a guy but still be friends. Personal example on this topic. So there was a boy who asked me to go to the movies, but I was in a relationship. He was funny, he seemed like a good person, like someone I would want as a friend. Like he possessed a lot of qualities that I think like a good friend would have. And the minute he asked me that, I was like, ooh. And there's two things that you can do. You don't be sus. That is just gonna fuck everything up. I wasn't sus. I literally said to the boy, are you asking me to go to the movies as a friend or something more than that? Honesty is always the best policy. He was like, well, I think you're really cool and I would potentially want this to like be something more than friends. And I told him, I was like, you see, you seem like a really cool person, but if you can't just make this like a just a friends thing, I'm in a relationship, I don't fuck with that. So I told him that. And then he was like, wow, like I respect you for being honest with me, for telling me that. I would still be really down, you know, for us to like go get lunch at a cafe or something. He said, also, I appreciate the fact that you know, were a really good girlfriend in that situation. Basically, I rejected him, but I did it in such a civil manner that like it didn't hurt his feelings. Do you think catcalling can get prevented? Going back to my essay. Basically, the power dynamics is, gendered power dynamics is the idea that in our society today, there is a hierarchy that places males on top of females. This structure keeps getting like reproduced and like it continues because we invest in it, and everybody invests in it. It's not just guys, it's literally everybody. And unless you do something that kind of doesn't invest in it, takes away from it, and goes against the norms and the systems, then that's when you actually start to see change. So if a guy catcalls you and you feed into it, then they think it's normal. So if a guy catcalls you and then you're like, oh, that's gonna give them a reason to catcall another girl on another day. But if you're like, you bitch, it's like a disruption in the norms. So the next time he does that, he's probably gonna question himself, you know? You have to speak up about these things. You have to voice it. And you can't be shy, because if you're shy about these things, then it's never gonna change. How to deal with sexual insecurity. If you're insecure in a sexual setting, it might be because you are in that setting with someone that you don't feel comfortable with. But if it's like, you know, something that's repetitive, even if it is, you know, someone that you like, that you want to do this with, maybe just be more honest. If someone forces you to do something that you don't want to, you don't have to be in that situation. You should speak up about it and remove yourself. Like, you just have to like be like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to take this off. And if they're forcing you or pushing you, then that gives you reason for you to not be there. Those are all my questions for this round. I really like filming these videos. I think so many YouTubers don't talk about these things. My audience is made up mostly of, you know, teenage to young adult girls, 13 to 24-year-olds. And I think that's like the stage of life when you're trying to figure things out. So hopefully I can assist in that process, and I'm in no ways an expert. I like to take my problems head on, and because I've done that for so long, I've gone to solutions a lot faster. So I think I've dealt with a lot of these problems and left them behind. So hopefully I can offer the same advice to you guys and help you do that too, and you know, your own way, serve as some kind of inspiration, help you out. I like having the conversation, keep going in the comments section. I like seeing you guys answer each other's questions. It like creates this community feel, and I feel really empowered by it, and I hope you guys can too. And I'm excited to film the next one of these videos probably in a couple weeks, because I want to make this a monthly thing. Thank you for watching up to this point if you did, and I will see you in my next video. I love you guys so much, all the way to Pluto and back.